Hey, it's me. Dior released a new foundation recently, and when I saw it, I thought, wow, that looks a lot like my MAC Face and Body. And then when I saw the name, I was like, the name is Dior Face and Body, so I was naturally curious because MAC Face and Body, as a lot of you all know, is one of my all-time favorite foundations. And then when I started getting requests to review this foundation, there was no turning back. So I filmed this video originally quite different. I had been wearing it now for 5 days, and I was going to do a 3-day compilation. On the first day, I showed you my first impression. On the second day, I actually wore one side with MAC Face and Body, one side with Dior Face and Body, just to show you some differences. And then on the third day, I was just going to give you my overall review. I'm not going to do that because I think it's going to be time consuming. Instead, I'm just going to insert the footage of my first impression and the footage of me comparing and contrasting the two on my face. And then I also have check-ins where I came back and I checked in after like an 8-hour wear. So I'm just gonna throw those clips in while I'm talking about this because I just want this to be kind of straight to the point and helpful for those of you who might be trying to decide if you should go for Dior Face and Body or MAC Face and Body. So that's what we're gonna do. If you aren't subscribed, please make sure you do so. And if you aren't following me on Instagram and Twitter, the handle will be right here. So let's go ahead and chat about some Dior Face and Body. Brief overview of Dior Face and Body. It comes in 40 shades. It says it has a natural matte finish, medium buildable coverage, and it's waterproof and sweat resistant. So basically the same claims as MAC Face and Body, except I wouldn't describe MAC Face and Body as being a matte foundation. It's actually quite the opposite. It's more of a dewy foundation. So I want to get into my first impression of the Dior Face and Body. Like I said, this is my 5th day trying this foundation out. And on the first day, I'm not going to lie, upon immediate application, I thought it looked beautiful. I was quite sold, when I had half of my face done. So this is one sheer layer of the Dior Face and Body, and honestly, first thing right off the bat, it looks beautiful. It definitely looks like a foundation I would wear on a daily basis, but 100% it's dried down. It has absolutely no tackiness to it that you'll find with Face and Body. It has a very nice natural texture to it. It does not enhance my pores, and again, like the claim says, it has a very buildable coverage to it. So you can go from sheer coverage all the way up to, the claim says medium coverage on Sephora, but honestly, I think this can be built up to a full coverage. Like today, the makeup that I'm wearing is a solid medium full coverage for me personally. So my first impression of this was actually really dang good. I love the way that it looked, and I had no complaints with the way that it was applying. The longevity of the Dior Face and Body has been phenomenal. It again is supposed to be sweat proof and waterproof, and I completely agree with that. I actually have worn this twice to the gym, and it has not budged. As a matter of fact, at the end of every day that I've worn this, it looks pretty dang good. And again, I went to the gym, I did cardio, I lifted weights one day, I did a full body workout, and I had no problems with this coming off. So longevity claim for me has again been an A+. So the second day I wore this, I decided I was going to wear one half of my face with MAC Face and Body and the other side with Dior Face and Body. And I felt like I didn't even really have to do this because after just trying this once, I could really pick out the major differences in the two. And the first being that the texture is completely different on these foundations. So right off the bat, I can tell it has a different texture than Face and Body. It doesn't have the tug that Face and Body has. If you are familiar with that foundation, once you start to blend it into your skin, it will actually start setting, and it kind of creates this tug where if you're blending it out, especially with your fingers, you'll notice that there isn't a lot of slip to it. The Dior Face and Body has a very satiny, traditional foundation texture where it can kind of just be blended with anything. You can blend it with your fingers, a beauty blender, or even a brush. With my MAC Face and Body, I do not dare use it with anything other than my hands or occasionally a beauty blender. This is a totally different texture foundation. For those of you who have tried it, you know what I'm talking about. After you've applied one layer, it begins to almost create this really gripping film. So if you were to rub your fingers across your face, it would almost drag a little bit. And that's because it just dries, so you can keep creating layers on top of your skin. So you can make this a buildable product up to, I would say, like a medium coverage. So the textures are 100% completely different, and for that reason, I honestly think that a lot of people would prefer the texture of the Dior Face and Body, just because a lot of people just don't get how to apply the MAC Face and Body. That's why I did a video on how to properly apply it, and it's just not the most user-friendly for especially people who I don't want to say want something fast, but who expect just quick results, basically. The Dior Face and Body you can apply with anything. It goes on with a nice demi matte finish to it, and that leads me into my second comparison or contrast of the two. The Dior Face and Body is a matte foundation, 100%. So I think the first one is probably pretty obvious even as I'm looking on the camera screen right now, and that's that MAC Face and Body appears to be quite a bit more luminous than the Dior Face and Body. I don't think it is an ugly matte. It is honestly more of like a satiny demi matte foundation, whereas MAC Face and Body is 100% a glowy, fresh face foundation. And I don't know if you can tell from the packaging, but that kind of reflects in the packaging. So Dior has kind of mocked the MAC Face and Body packaging, but the Face and Body you can see has that traditional kind of sheen plastic packaging, whereas Dior has rubberized their bottle to give the effect of a completely flat or matte look. So yeah, completely different finish on these foundations. Matte, not matte. So I would say the final difference in these two foundations is the amount of pigment. The Dior foundation has more pigment in it than the MAC Face and Body, but I still think that the MAC Face and Body can be built up to the same coverage level as the Dior. You just have to work less with the Dior one since it does naturally have a bit more pigment to it, whereas the MAC one is a little bit more water focused and you have to layer it. You have to build it up to get the coverage. So if you're the type of person that just doesn't really want any nonsense and you need something really fast, the Dior one is, again, more user-friendly in that aspect. I do want to talk about a really big con, and this is a huge turnoff for me with the Dior Face and Body, and that is that it contains fragrance. My one downside is that I can smell the fragrance in this. There's definitely that Dior scent that they put in a lot of their products that is in this foundation. It gets on my nerves so bad. Why put fragrance in your products? There's absolutely no benefit to it. It 100% has the Dior fragrance in it, just like my Dior Air Flash foundation. They put their own fragrance in their products, and it pisses me off so bad because this is not a cheap foundation. This is a $40 foundation, and I just don't understand why makeup brands are still putting fragrance in their products. It's off-putting. I don't ever like the smell of it, and I know most of you guys don't either, and it's just not appealing to just think about putting a whole bottle of Christian Dior perfume on your face. You know what I mean? So this does have the classic Dior scent to it, and I just don't like it. I'm not down for it, and it just kind of annoys me. So what are my final thoughts on Dior Face and Body? And to be completely honest, it is a beautiful foundation. It is very beautifully made. I think that they did put a lot of thought into the formula, being that it has such a high claim of being waterproof and sweat proof. I also think that they had a lot of nerve to really mimic the package of MAC Face and Body, so they had some very high claims to live up to. it looks beautiful on. It's got a demi matte finish to it. You can build this up to a full coverage in my personal opinion. It doesn't enhance my pores, and it has really great lasting power. So pretty much everything that I could want in a foundation. But I will say that I would reach for these two foundations for totally different reasons. If I wanted really healthy, glowing skin, youthful looking skin, I would go for the MAC Face and Body because it does have such a hyper real look to it and such a glowing look that I just feel like it's not a foundation that can be replaced or replicated easily. Something about this formula to me just, I love it. I use it on myself all the time and also on clients. However, if I felt like I wanted something that was skin-like but maybe provided a little bit more coverage and also something that I may not necessarily have to set, I would go for the Dior foundation. It has a demi matte to matte finish on me, and I don't find that I really even have to set it. Right now, I only have my T-zone sat. So yeah, if I were maybe doing like a little bit more on my eyes, but I still wanted a healthy look on my skin with a tad bit more coverage, the Dior one would be a really nice option. It's still very natural. It still looks like skin, but it does have a flatter finish to it, and you are able to get coverage with it a little bit quicker. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have any questions for me, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. This is a foundation that I have been enjoying. I have really no complaints with it other than the fragrance. So it's something that you'll probably see in up and coming videos, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Again, if I missed anything, comment down below. I will try to get back with you guys, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.